think in general, if there is one map to bounce back, if there's one map to trust each other, to prove that you have what it takes a great opponent. I think that...
I don't...
The hesitation feels like, yeah, okay. Like, you didn't have to say it, but the fact that...
I could just rip the G2 and people will be thinking, oh, he's back again. Here he is.
Back again.
G2's in better form, and here he is.
You've always got
Shameless.
it on.
No.
A bit of a pinch here, I believe.
Yeah,
there's
I
the
think
pinch.
right now the opening for Gen.G was
Oh!
starting to formulate a pretty good idea, but that has just went to smithereens, as I've mentioned.
The pressure up the stairs itself, but now without that Blackbeard, what can they try and build on? They've got to try and drive themselves here on towards the site. And so does find Alamau. Cuts a body across, puts us into a 3 versus 2 versus 2.
Oh.
As the swing with the shotgun is well read, but look at the pressure here coming from Fish. He's about to suffer a swing round. Wasn't aware of Azlox's change of position now. The kit is cold on the far side, but Blaz in a none versus 2. Great.
The main breach or not, and if they haven't done that, but thankfully, because G2 have actually played it soft, it allows them to play close on the wall, and there you go, Asta punishes Doki because of that, a blunder from G2.
Oh, things have started to slip here for G2 now. That will be a sort of call to arms in action, but as they drift their way across, look, the Blackbeard starts to suffer as Alamau finds themselves on the other side of the fight, but the Blackbeard wins out, and now they scream their way in. They are falling everywhere. There is not a lot of time, but, well, there's not a lot of places to go. Swinging around on the spot, Loira does get 1.5. But in a post-plant situation, oh, filthy take onto at least another. Now they know someone's down, but this is a very tricky retake. They have the verticality. There's also a player about to shoot him from his left that he's aware of a little bit, just with the safety of the soft. No, both of them have gone for the vertical. Not followed up. There was almost a bit of team damage that came on the back of it. The blinds and they're ready to rock and roll with the shotgun, but he has to watch 2 different angles, and they have just screamed back and forth. Stompin finds one, skies and trades either side. What are you looking for here? Stompin, apart from the ghosts of some of your dead teammates, but there's even more of theirs. There goes Deadshot on Fish. And that G2 wall has held firm this time round. You can see a bit of attempted damage done. They know that there's a shotgun on that swing position to the left, but, well, look at this. 3 bodies ready for a contact fight. As soon as the first hits, it is going to be a firing line.
Out on some pretty basic stuff. You know, just a simple nade would have probably been enough there to get that warden out of there. So, just a...
That one's not going to be tricked out, but this might be that tricky moment. Oh, what a moment! Oh. That was so close to being tilled through, and I think both of them were surprised, but it leaves them 3-2 even. They had the cover on the rotate up, the Ram gets it through, but that was Siege.
You're speechless. That kind of sums it up in terms of how you're feeling about that, and certainly think Gen.G are a little bit speechless as well, and just how quickly their attack has crumbled. You know, that's what I mean. You knew G2, they weren't just going to sit back this time. They were going to take the fight to Gen.G. They weren't going to allow them to set up and just flood into the site in that 5v5. Much better from G2, using the gunners that they have in their team to inflict a heavy amount of damage on this attacking lineup, and now it should be, I'll put an asterisk beside that, an easy 1v2 now for Doki and Blaz.
Yep, they just have to do pretty much the lessons that they showed that they'd learned on the previous one. Find out where the player is and then play on the contact towards the back of it. And, well, there's the first spray. The second energy, especially before the turn of the half. Well, here's the start. Straight in, straight out. Stompin just had the full read. Served them up for dinner within the kitchen. And, well, actually still hungry for thirds. For a fight.
Guys, though, able to move in and take out Loira, but will come in contact with Stompin and Doki still inside the kitchen. And Gen.G have done well to still, you know, equal up in a 2v2. As
hope that the cover will be good enough, and they go for the 1 versus 1 instead, and it's actually the right play. They slip on through, but no. pulls off the plant. The damage of the barbed wire gives the position away, and that leaves a 1 versus 1. Doki versus MACKO, who was able to pick up the kill in the meantime. Is this a bait? Is this a ruse? It is. And now with a little bit extra and nothing else to really work with apart from the rare Bucket Bandit battery. But standard expected half. The 42 on their defense as the rush starts to come in the same way they won the first round. They get the connection there, and those are
rotating back to rafters. There's actually a player on fish stairs waiting for that buck, and it's going to be a shotgun close. And oh, was that the Sophia stun? Did it actually pull up the shield in his team? I think it did. Azox wins that one against Alamau. Oh, Blackbeard gets annihilated by the shotgun, but still Gen.G, never mind, it's the 1v1. Doki been able to pull back one with the C4. Doki again, can he hold his metal? Gets full blinded. Azox pushing in close to the scale keeper. Doki with the pitch stop
to the wire, as it could have been, but G2 on the sort of good graces of Doki. They built some momentum. They still have the timeout. At this point, though, you know, going down leaves Gen.G guessing, and all guesswork might lead to a bit of busy work. There it is. Loira baits onto the first fight. Skies is gone, and well, the clash, I think they're trying to operate and get him out entirely stuck. And what are you going to do here? There's no way through. You need either a shotgun to open up the soft wall. Azox finds Loira, though, and that's the retake on towards the connector side. So his right shoulder is now his.
No way.
He takes that moment to escape.
Difficult. Really, really tough for them.
Oh, they knew. I was like, do they know?
Reloading.
And Azox took a risk. Yeah, they knew. But with those bubbles giving the full read, Skies can't use them, but he sure as hell can tell them what they're doing here. There's 3 players to try and make a plant with not really a lot. Bees to make some noise, and well, just the guns for cover. So it's a dive onto Pillar, a focus onto the Maestro cam with the impact DMP, which is great, and Deadshot hitting the ground. Okay, the Clash is setting themselves up to try and offer some protection, but it's well watched from the swinger either side. But a post-plant situation, Deadshot down, and a Clash now could get the last player up. Deploys. Will G2 lean in? They will. It's the right decision. Make sure they cannot get Deadshot off the ground. Make sure the Clash is consistently on the beat, on the back foot, on either side of a close one fight. Doki. They have the ping, but they don't know. There it is. Ooh, the timing of being watched. They don't know that they know. And that is a pickup there for Asa.
However, Blaz has one with.
At this point, Blaz, he's trying to get it stuck in right by the side of it, and without the echo to stop it, and Stompin taking over the vertical. It is a post-plant situation. Wow. Too little, too late, and I said it before. These risks, these moments, and this momentum has turned into a terrifying, but Gen.G, they are bouncing their way through, and they get a blow, but it's traded down as a drop. And Stompin still has the full watch and cover. They are on the plant, baiting it, but with the breach, with the audio, and with the ram boogieing its way across the boards. The 5.
Nobody has any idea what's going on.
Breach comes through, pressure not that far behind. Doki hops in on the top of the rafters, and so does everyone else. They're swinging a shield as Blaz gets the first. The blinds around the corner. Blaz gets 2. There's Doki, and a C4 gets Loira. Doki finally dead, but the news won't read that. I think what it'll read here is Skies with everything left to do. G2! Your timeout was just a slow...
Is they will play, and when they need these big game players to come in, that's exactly what happens.
14 and 3.
Doki's actually been having, comparatively to Loira, to Stompin, to everybody else on his team, quite a difficult stage. And then he's turned up here, 3 big clutches back to back to back, and just set his team on the way to victory.
Almost a 5 KD, by the way. I mean, that's insane.
Bizarre.
That's insane.
Yeah.
In 9 rounds.
Yeah. Really impressive. I mean, it has been Loira, the one we have been focusing towards in regards to the player that really stepped up. But Doki really has done that today. I mean, it was an okay start from Gen.G, especially on the attack from Nighthaven, but they really seem to recover themselves.
Yeah, exactly. They started okay. They got a couple of rounds on the board. I think they got really rocked by those 3 clutches back to back to back and never recovered. And we said about maybe their mental, their fortitude is not really where it wants to be. When that happens 3 rounds in a row, it's just going to compound that.
I literally said this might just be the best opportunity for these guys to get back.